Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the pre-week analysis. As my boy DJ Khaled would say, another one. So before I jump into it, let me give a quick disclaimer. This is not financial advice. Anything that I share during this analysis is for educational purposes only. I repeat, this is not in any way, form, or fashion financial advice. Anything that I share during this analysis is for educational purposes only. Cool beans, cool beans. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. So, um, to start the week out this week, of course, you guys, if you've been watching me and following me for the last couple of months, then you should be up to date. We know that my long term bias for the dollar index is bullish, right? I have a point of interest of 107.993, right? Running that buy side liquidity and targeting this daily fair value gap that we have right here, this pink shaded area, right? So last week we seen price open up bearish Monday, right? We reached down to run this sell side liquidity from October the 12th, right? Attempted to reach for this daily fair value gap, but we left that um untested, right? And we pushed back to the upside, right? Um Broke back above this market structure, right? And closed the week right on top of this daily fair value gap that we created um Thursday, right? It was completed Thursday when the market closed the way that it closed Thursday, right? So Friday we pulled back down into that fair value gap and closed the day above it. So opening up this week, I want to see the dollar index do one or two things. I want to see us either respect the top of this fair value gap and run the weekly buy side liquidity, right? And find support on top of that buy side liquidity level and continue to run higher, or we open the week to the downside to pull down into the weekly discount PD array. You can see the discount PD arrays here. They are right um, beside the daily discount PD arrays as well, right? So I expect us to do either or. Either open up, respect the top of the fair value gap and continue higher, or open up to the downside to retest the discount weekly and daily PD arrays, find support there and continue to the upside. I do not want to see us break below or close below the weekly and daily PD array levels. Now, just because I don't want to see that don't mean that won't happen. And if that does happen, I will adjust my analysis, right? And I will start targeting sell side liquidity and sell side inefficiencies in the market. Simple as that. So, with that being said, let's move forward and look at our currency pairs. Looking at Euro USD, I went to AUD USD. Sorry about that. Looking at Euro USD, the same thing that I'm expecting out of the dollar index, right? Just flip that to the opposite, right, for Euro USD, and that's exactly what I'm expecting out of Euro USD. I'm expecting us to open up and continue to the downside, right? Running the weekly sell side liquidity and targeting um this swing low here for sell side liquidity, right? And we have a new yearly low that we created on October the 3rd, right? we could possibly see that rent this week. Let's just see how, the market opens up and how the week plays out. Now I'm expecting us to open up and continue to sell off. However, I will allot for price to pull back up into the weekly PD array, right? I do not want to see us breaking close above the daily buy side liquidity. But like I said before, just because that I don't want to see that, don't mean that that won't happen. And if that does happen, I will adjust my analysis and target buy side liquidity in areas of bullish inefficiencies in the market. Right? Cool beans, cool beans. And that's what I'm expecting across the three currency pairs that I go over every week, which is Euro, the pound, and NZD/USD. So I'm expecting the same thing out of all three of these this week. Either I want to see the pound either excuse me, I want to see the pound either open up bearish to the downside to run sell side, weekly sell side liquidity, or we open up and pull back up into the weekly premium PD array, right? Find resistance there and continue lower. Same thing for NZD/USD. I expect us to open up and run lower. I am bearish. My bias is bearish for currencies because my bias is bullish for the dollar index. And we know that currencies, or at least the three currencies that I analyze, are inversely correlated with the dollar, right? So whatever I'm expecting out of the dollar, I'm simply expecting the opposite out of currency. So I expect us to either open up bearish for NZD/USD and run sell side liquidity, or pull back up into the consequent encroachment of the daily wick, find resistance there and continue lower. I do not want to see us close above the daily buy side liquidity for NZD/USD. And if we do, I will adjust my analysis and start to target buy side liquidity and buy side inefficiencies in the market. Cool beans, cool beans. Looking at S&P futures, S&P 500 futures, I expect us to open up bearish. I want to see us open up and run weekly sell side liquidity and potentially come down to fill in this liquidity void, right, that we have right here in price, where we see absolutely no price or no wick right here in this area, right? We did come down and test the consequent encroachment of that area, but I would like to see us push down and fill in this liquidity void. That's what I'm expecting out of S&P 500 opening up this week. I will allot for us to pull back up into the daily premium PD array, right? I do not want to see us close above the daily buy side liquidity. If we do, I expect us to run up into the weekly premium PD array levels. And if we get up into those levels, I see this daily fair value gap, right? That these weekly premium PD array is inside of, and I would like to see the PD arrays respected within that fair value gap and continue lower. If we get above the fair value gap, then I'm going to be looking for price to be aggressively bullish this week, right? And run weekly sell side liquidity and fill in all the inefficiency we see to the upside. As up to this fair value gap that we see right here, right? And then we will adjust our analysis from there, right? Looking at NQ, same thing. I expect us to open up bearish, right? I would like to see us fill in this liquidity void to the downside for NQ, right? If we break above the volume imbalance that we see here, right? Then I expect price to push up into last Wednesday's PD array levels, right? Premium PD array levels from last Wednesday's price range. So, ladies and gentlemen, that'll pretty much sum up the pre-week analysis. As always, if these reviews are adding any value to you guys' life whatsoever, please like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. It really helps out a lot. If you would like to join my private Telegram group, visit my website at precisionpipsllc.com and register for the silver package. Cool beans, cool beans. So, with that being said, as always, I appreciate you guys, ladies and gentlemen, coming out, tuning in, getting this knowledge and empowering yourselves. Let your family and friends know you love them while they still here. Please. And as always, peace and love, everybody. You know